Bo, what did you think when you saw David Smoke, ESPN, Central Texas? What did you think when you saw Andrew on the ground and then when he came back?
I mean, it's never anything to good to see one of your teammates down, and I knew he was in pain, but I mean, I know he's a strong guy and going to try and come back and fight through it, and came back in for that one play and just looked like he couldn't go. So the rest of the D-line, we knew that we had to step it up and really fill in for what we're losing with him.
Hello, Stephen Hawkins with the AP. I know you guys are focused on game to game, and so much was said about revenge, but what does it mean for you guys to kind of get a little measure of revenge against these guys and to stay undefeated at this point?
I mean, we're good. I mean, got bowl eligible and everything, but I mean, just this whole week we were talking about how they're the only team that we have a losing record to coming into this game from 2012, the 2-1. And I mean, we really just wanted to come out and defend our home turf out here and really just get another win and keep everything rolling.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Bo, was there a celebration? Like you said, this was bowl eligible. Was there much of a celebration after the game?
I mean, we try and expect that we're going to get it every year now, and I mean, that's just where the bar's been set and what we expect to accomplish. But I mean, we're definitely all excited, and I mean, it means something to us.
Bo, Tim Griffin with the San Antonio Express News. What kind of changes did you guys make at the half after they'd had a little bit of success in that second quarter moving the ball?
I mean, we really just saw that they were trying to do more quarterback run on us, and that they were going to take those deep shots, but trying to get a little read with the quarterback and everything. So just tried to exchange who was taking the flare guys out and all that stuff, and really trying to keep our linebackers in the whole pocket just to kind of contain them.
Any other questions for Bo? All right, thank you.
Bryce Cherry, Waco Trib. Seth, you guys have talked about that ultimately you don't want to run that much, you personally. Just what led to, so many opportunities today for the running game for you?
Oh, well, we knew they were probably going to heat us up a little bit, and that's what they did. If he brings 7, you leave one free rusher. That's who we're reading. If he crashes down, I pull it, and that's one-on-one with the safety, basically. That's kind of what we did last year. We didn't execute the quarterback run as much last year just because we weren't expecting it. And this year, we were expecting it. We had a good game plan drawn up, and we executed.
John Warner, Waco Trib. Seth, 3 more touchdown catches for Corey today. It seems like people would really start focusing on him, or is he just that good they just can't defend him?
He's just, you watch him, the way he runs his routes, he's so dynamic, so explosive that you're going to have to double team him. That's maybe the only way you can try to stop him. And if you double team him, you leave one-on-one, with one of the fastest guys in the nation, and then one of the most consistent guys in the nation, Jaylee and KD. And so, it's basically just pick your poison. I like to look at it, and if we continue to execute, with our deep balls, we had to hit a couple today, which was good. Kind of softened them up. But as long as we continue to be able to run the ball and throw the ball, we'll come out on top.
Seth Billoney with the Texarkana Gazette. On your first score, you hand the ball to Linwood, you fake it to Linwood, who leaps the defensive tackle and gets hit face first by the middle linebacker. You just kind of dart in behind all that. Was that a read play?
A little bit, I guess. It's just that zone read, basically. If defensive end crashes down, we're going to pick up the extra guy, and it's just a one-on-one with whoever's in the hole.
Because you did that a few other times. How important was he to your success today?
Oh, it's huge. With the quarterback threat being able to run the ball, you've seen it in many spread offenses that if the quarterback can run it, you can hurt some defenses. They do drop 8 looks. But our offensive line was doing an amazing job moving people out of the way, making holes. And so, it's huge. As long as we continue to execute, that's something we can really look forward to.
It's Sean J. Roger, Dallas Morning News. In the other press conference, Daniel Holgerson just called Corey Coleman the best player in college football. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree, 100%. He hasn't given any reason not to be. He's gone out every game, shown what he can do. He's consistent, he's explosive. You get the ball in his hands, and he can make some magic happen.
Seth, Max Olson, ESPN.com. Seemed like you took some shots today in the past game, especially the run. You gonna be a little sore after this one, or how you feeling?
Yeah, probably a little bit. It's football, though. That was our game plan. We were going to run it maybe 8 to 12 times to keep them honest. And there were some big holes. But, football's football. You're going to get banged up a little bit. It's all about the recovery and then answering back next week.
Larry Little, Baylor Bear Insider. Seth, were you guys expecting coming into the game for the QB run to be as much a part of the game as it was, or was it an adjustment to what their defense was doing as the game went on?
We went in. We just kind of see what they were going to do. That first drive, I probably could have pulled it and walked for 80, but we just kind of let it eat. Let's see how they're going to play us. But it turned out they're going to blitz a lot, and so the quarterback run was going to have to be huge.
Oh, well, just, a really good win against, really the only Big 12 team that we don't have a winning record against since 2011. So it's a big deal for us as a program. We felt a lot of desire, a lot of need to clear our name. We didn't feel like we had a good name in West Virginia. And so that was kind of our motivating factor. It had nothing to do with rankings, had nothing to do with getting bowl eligible. Nothing to do with anything other than when people talk about us up there, we want them saying good things about our football program. And we don't feel like we'd earned that right up until today. So now maybe they'll say that, Baylor's got a decent team. And that was really our motivating factor today.
Art Stephen Hawkins with the AP. Corey, just another tremendous game. And here he's got 16 touchdown catches. We're only halfway through the season. Just talk about what he's doing.
He's a hard matchup because he's very explosive and he's very passionate and he's very talented. And he's got a guy who can throw in the ball really well, and we can run the football. So when you do those things, defenses have to make decisions, and if they single him, then he's going to catch some balls. If they, try to double him, then they're going to run the football. So, and he's just good. He was a top recruit, and we recruited him. He's the best guy in the state of Texas, probably top 4 or 5 in America. He ran the fastest time at the Nike Combine. So, we knew we were getting a great athlete. Hi, Bob. Doing all right? Well, thank you. Sorry about the other day, but what a year. What a great year. If they'd have said, would you take that in mid-July, you'd have probably said, yes, sir, right now. So I'm proud for you. Yeah, no, we're going, that's kind of the goal.
Art, Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. How important was Seth's ability to keep and make big plays there against the kind of scheme that West Virginia was playing today?
It was gigantic. We felt like coming into the game that he'd have to run some, and we schemed a few runs for him. We hadn't been running much, ran him a little bit against Tech. But, just he has that ability, and that's an X factor that we haven't had for a couple, 3 years, and he's really good at it. And I thought he did a great job today protecting the ball. He made a lot of adjustments at the line of scrimmage. He checked off a bunch of things at the line, and he just did a good job. We were a little rusty on Thursday. Put in a lot of extra time from probably 5 p.m. Thursday till 8:30 a.m. this morning with him. Kendall Briles did, and it really paid off today from a mental standpoint because he was on everything he hit.
Coach in the back, John Elizondo, News Channel 25.
Yes, sir.
What is the status on Andrew Billings, and I guess how big of a loss was that for you in the second half, having other guys having to step up without him there?
Oh, it'd be a gigantic loss, but I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think they did the X-rays. You could talk to Sims. I'm just going by what I was told on the sideline, but the X-rays are clean. So I think it's just a sprained ankle. Took a shot on it, but I'm not really sure. I'm just going by what I was told on the field. But, he tried to go back in and play. Wasn't very effective, came off. But, no, he'll be, if it's not broken, he'll be ready for the stretch run.
Art, Bryce Cherry, Waco Trib. A lot of today, they were able to take shock away from you a little bit, but you were still able to get runs with Seth. Was this a day of taking kind of what they gave you? I mean, you were still able to put up 60 whatever points.
Yeah, I mean, we knew. I mean, you don't like to think that it's going to be hard to run the football, but they're a run stop team. You know, I mean that's what they do. I mean, we dropped 95 yards on them last year. You know, so they're a team that takes a lot of pride in stopping the run, and they're good. You know, they do a good job. They got good people. So we knew it'd be a little bit of a grind. You know, our conflict was, do we play patient? You know, because we felt like, you know, using Seth that we could 4-4-4, you know, 4-4-4, and you know, you make 25, 30 yards, and then you take a shot or two. But or do we, you know, protect up and try to hit it quick? You know, that was a conflict we were in, because we're good enough up front now that if we want to line up and play slow ball, we can. You know, so that's kind of what we had to weigh at halftime. You know, because halftime the game was, you know, still very much in doubt, and that was kind of what we thought coming out the opening drive, third quarter. If we get the ball back up with 10, which we did, we got a good stop and we went and scored. We scored consecutively on 3 drives in the third quarter. But we added a little bit of patience to the game there late.
Art, Max Olson, ESPN.com. 6 games in, do you feel like Seth is playing as good as anybody in the country right now?
You know, I think other people could decide that. I know he's really playing well for us. That's really the most encouraging thing. You know, I mean, as you live with somebody, you get to know him, and so we're getting to know him better, and he's getting to know us better. But man, I'm having a hard time finding faults. I really am. He's pretty complete, and I'm talking about mentally and teammate and just everything that's up first.
Paul Catalina, ESPN Central Texas. Coach, Seth said that last year's game plan, this year's game plan for them defensively was very similar, and it helped him a lot. Does that surprise you, given the fact that Seth and Bryce are very different quarterbacks, and that Seth can run a little bit better than Bryce can?
Not really, you know, because I mean, they had a lot of success last year. I mean, they held us 27 points. We had 300-something yards offense, held us 95 yards rushing. And, you know, so if they did something different, they would be having to convince people this is why we're doing it differently. You know what I mean? I mean, because what they were doing worked. So that's something that probably fell in our favor a little bit, you know. But, you know, we really hadn't run Seth that much up until today. You know, a little bit against Tech, but nothing extended. And so they probably weren't really sure how well he could run.
Art, Tim Griffin with the San Antonio Express-News. Today you guys played pretty clean. I don't think you had a penalty until midway through the second quarter. 135 yards different from what you guys did against West Virginia penalty-wise. How important was that, and was that any extra impetus coming in this week?
Not really. I mean, we didn't mention it once. You know, we're going to play ball. If we're going to sit around and worry about stuff like that, then we're not going to play hard and fast and aggressive and intense and passionately and tough, because that's how we're going to play. So if the penalties happen like they did in Morgantown, we'll just fight our butt off to overcome them. Fortunately, we didn't have that many today. We had a few down the stretch that extended their drives. A late hit a hand in the face, a pass interference on third down extended, and a couple others. But you know, they had some too. They had a chop block right before half to pull them out of field goal range and miss a field goal, which was a big turning point. So it's, you know, it's just part of the game. But I didn't realize we're 135 yards better this year, but it'd been hard to have been worse than what we were last year, since if you're checking the record book.
Steve Cook, Sikkim Sports. Coach, Alfred Pullum got dinged up. Have you heard anything on him?
I haven't heard a word. No, I haven't. I think he's okay, though.
Art, Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. You had said bowl eligible is still a big deal. So did you guys celebrate after this one?
Well, I mean, yeah, we acknowledged it, and it is a big deal. It's a gigantic deal. I can't remember if I talked about it in here on the radio, but have I already talked about it? Apparently not, since you're asking. Yeah, so, yeah, it's gigantic. You know, for us, being a bowl eligible 6 years in a row, you know, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and us are probably the longest consecutive. You know, maybe Kansas State in there. That'd be the only one that comes to mind. But so it's nothing to ever be taken lightly. It's hard to win. It's hard to win consistently. So I think it shows a little substance in our program.
John Warner, Waco Trip. Art, You got one sack, but it seems like y'all put pretty good pressure on Howard. Were you pleased with that today?
I was. He's good. You know, I mean, everybody's good. Everybody's got good QBs in this league and good players. They get the ball out of their hands. Dane and them do a great job offensively. Their scheme's good. You know, they ran the clock down, checked, rechecked, did some things. You know, but this guy's a playmaker. You know, I mean, he's a good baller. And, you know, it's hard to get sacks without pressure. And then when you put pressure, they're going to get the ball out of their hand and, you know, try to spot throw it or throw something underneath real fast. So, you know, they're not going to stand back in there and pat the ball like everybody did in 1968. You know, those days are over, waiting for the double move, you know, comeback. You know, that's just not the way to get today's game is. So I don't know, did Seth have a sack? They probably didn't. So, I mean, that's one sack. Yeah, so that's, yeah, right there for half, I think. So, you know, that's just kind of the way it is. It's just hard to get sacks these days because you're never going to be clean most of the time. The blocking schemes are pretty good up front.
Art, David Smoke, ESPN Central Texas. Do you officially have the edge back, or are there still some sharpening tools to be used?
Oh, you know, I don't think I'm without edge right now. I'll say that. I think we got a little bit, but you know, there's always more out there. So, you know, we've got to do a great job of refocusing and recharging and making sure we put just as much energy and emphasis into this next game against Iowa State as we did West Virginia, because we put a lot of energy into this game. And, you know, so we've got to be at our best every week to have a chance to, you know, finish out the way we want to finish out.